Hey guys, it's Cameron here at Rocket Punch, bringing you a new show, Rocket Punch Opinions, where basically I sit in front of a camera and give you guys my opinions on the latest and greatest in the gaming stratosphere that's going on right now. New format, first off the cuff thing, so we'll definitely see how we can improve it going forward, but this is how it's going to be. You guys are going to have to deal with it. I wanted to sit and talk about a little bit about the Xbox Game Showcase that just happened last week. I know a lot of people are talking about it. They're talking about all the games at the show. I think the big thing coming from that is the Halo Infinite demo and whether they liked it or not. And it looks like it's very mixed online. And if you've listened to our podcast, you probably heard a lot of my main overarching opinions, but I wanted to jump in a little bit further into that here on this video. I don't know. I really think the big thing, like I said in one of our podcasts, is that there's one key thing, and you have to not think about that showcase as them trying to sell you the Xbox Series X. They weren't. I feel like they weren't. What they were trying to sell you is Xbox Game Pass. That is, or at least to my optics, that what looks like is their future. It looks like that's what Xbox is going towards to try and get people in the Xbox ecosystem. Whether you have an Xbox, whether you have a PC, whether you have a mobile device, a tablet, God knows what else they're going to put the thing on. Game Pass is your way to get into the Xbox ecosystem. I mean, I still clearly believe that it is the best deal in gaming, bar none. You cannot find a better deal anywhere to get the amount of games and the quality games that you get from that. And with that Xbox showcase that they had, they really showed that off. I mean, the fact that you could play all those games on Xbox Game Pass on day one is phenomenal. I've heard a lot of people talk online that people aren't talking about that enough, and I, to a certain extent, I do agree. People have to remember, like, not everybody can just get a brand new console when it comes out and pay $400, $500, $600 for it, or whatever the hell these new consoles are going to be. And so Xbox Game Pass is a great entryway to still be able to play Halo Infinite, to still be able to play all the latest and greatest Xbox games, as well as cool new indie third-party games that you may not have tried before. I mean, the numbers speak for themselves. You guys can go online and check out all the numbers and stats that people have thrown around, especially from devs and publishers and creators of the like, that Xbox Game Pass is successful. But going back again to the Xbox Game Showcase, that is what they were trying to sell. And I think that's still a pretty hard concept for people to wrap around, especially when we're going into the next generation, to hear a company not necessarily sell you on their box, but more so their service. The Xbox Series X is going to, it's spec-wise, it's the most powerful console out there. Going to be more powerful than the PlayStation 5. We've seen the specs, we know that. And with Xbox Game Pass is going to be a pretty great companion to that. But the thing to think about, and even for me, when I'm thinking about next gen, and I've been thinking about this for a while, is that my primary console I intend to get is the PlayStation 5. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be a part of the Xbox ecosystem. Sure, I'm privileged enough that I'm sure I'll get an Xbox Series X, maybe at launch, maybe sometime down the road. I don't know. I think when prices are revealed and more details are revealed as we get closer to these release of these consoles, I'll be able to give a better answer then. But the pure fact, like, I have been on Game Pass since day one. Since they released Game Pass Ultimate, I have been subscribed to there. I can play these Xbox exclusives on my gaming PC here, so it's really hard for me, if I really think about it, to justify why I would want to get an Xbox Series X when I can play all the Xbox exclusives via Game Pass on here. But the big thing with that is I think people think that that's a bad thing. Just because you don't get the Series X and you stay on Game Pass, it's horrible, that's bad for Microsoft. And I think that's complete opposite. I think that's great for Microsoft. I think that's exactly what Microsoft wants you to do. We have all these games pouring out of Game Pass, and Microsoft is just saying, hey, just give us $15 a month and you can play them. That's incredible. And the fact that you don't have to have a console, you don't have to have the latest and greatest Xbox right out of the gate to play these games is pretty substantial. It definitely can, for a lot of people that may not have the funds immediately to get these new consoles, it's definitely going to be a way to keep them involved. But the other thing too is that just because you don't get the next or the latest Xbox doesn't mean you're a part of that ecosystem. And I think that's something that I don't hear enough about. Like, if I have a PlayStation 5, but I have Xbox Game Pass, guess what? I'm still a part of the Xbox ecosystem because I'm I'm still in there engaging and playing those games, interacting with the community. I've got Xbox Games with Gold, so I can play with my friends that are on Xbox as well. A lot of those games are going to be cross-play, so guess what? I can play with them across that space also. And that's something that's really cool and really exciting. I think people are still looking through that console lens or the console war lens that, hey, we've got to, it's us or them. And I think that, I will admit, it's an interesting strategy going into next generation, but I think it is something that can still succeed very well. I've said it on the podcast before, I'm a firm believer that PlayStation 5, in my opinion, I believe is going to be the best-selling console at the end of the year. When both of these things release, PlayStation 5 is going to sit at the top, but I don't think that Phil Spencer and the executive team over at Xbox are going to be hanging their head low. I believe they're going to be hanging their head high, especially once they release the Xbox numbers for Game Pass. Imagine, especially when Halo, their biggest franchise, rolls out the door, how big it's going to be, how many people are going to jump on Game Pass, and I'm very, very curious to see those numbers come to the end of the year once these new consoles are out. And no, I could be wrong. Who's to say? Xbox Series X could sneak in and become the winner, especially, I think, a brilliant strategy. And if they haven't thought about it already, then God, please, Phil, do something here, is to bundle like a 3-month pack of Xbox Game Pass with every Series X console. That way, those people, when they get home, all they have to do is put the code in, sign up for a Microsoft account, and boom, they can start downloading those games right there. They don't have to worry about buying a game at the store, so that saves them money in their pocket. And they can go home, all they need is to get internet connection, they can jump on there and start playing right away. And I think that's something really awesome. But no, I just think the Xbox Showcase, I really, really enjoyed it. I don't think it was the best Xbox conference. I still think that the PlayStation 5 conference was better, but I still think looking ahead, and especially after this Xbox Game Showcase conference, is that Microsoft has a clear path, and they really showed it, that they want you to get the Xbox Series X. Of course, they sell more boxes, they make more money, but what they really, 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 really want you to do is sign up for Game Pass. And that way, regardless of whether you're a Nintendo player or a Sony PlayStation player or a PC Master Race game player, you can still be a part of the Xbox ecosystem. And I think that is something that is very incredible. I'm really excited to see what xCloud is and get more details on that. Hopefully come September. I'm really excited to see more, and if this Project Lockhart is a real thing, that could definitely sway opinion. Either way, we'll definitely have to find out for sure, but I definitely don't think that people should sleep on Xbox just because they're not pushing the box as much as people may think, or you may see some of those issues with those games, especially like the Halo Infinite demo. I still, everybody says it in the industry, Xbox Game Pass is the best deal for gaming, and it is a powerful, powerful weapon for Xbox going into next generation, and I'm really interested to see how they use Xbox Game Pass even further to shape not only the Xbox ecosystem, but the gaming industry as a whole. Well, that's it for my first Rocket Punch opinions here, guys. I'll be sure to, whenever I have some crazy thoughts in my head, I'll jump on here on camera and talk more about them to you guys. But thank you so much for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe to the video here on youtube.com/RocketPunchGo, and we'll see you in the next video.